Hi guys, it's Angie and welcome back to my Flosstube channel. For all of my new subscribers, I'm Angie, this is me. Nothing fancy, just a simple person doing a Flosstube channel and just showing my progress. Sometimes there's a lot of progress and sometimes there's not a whole lot. Sometimes I work on the same things week after week after week, and sometimes I mix it up a little bit. It just depends. So hopefully you like what you see and stick around. For all of those of you who have been sticking around, welcome back. I'm happy to have you back. A few things to talk about. Anything personal or whatever, my life stuff, I'll probably just do at the end. There's not a whole lot, but anyway. There's not a whole lot to share as well because March was March, which I'll probably talk about a little bit at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with my stats for the month of March. As you know, at the end of each month, I like to just kind of share my stats. I like to see how I'm doing. January was fantastic. February was pretty good. March kind of went on a downward slope. I knew that was going to happen, so I was prepared for it. So really quick, I only worked on 7 projects, a total of 7 projects for the entire month of March, which was Map of Middle Earth, Dark Queen of the Sea, Magic Study, Garden Prelude, Avatar, Alphabet, the Epic Storybook Princesses, and Giant Harry Potter. And for most of those, I only did a little bit on them. So let's see, Middle Earth I worked on 6 times, or for 6 different days. For those who are new, I keep track on these little things in my Happy Planner, and so each of these is a day in the month. I got this idea from Sammy J Stitches. She was showing off her planner, and I don't use all of the things that she uses, but I really liked this because it helps me keep track of how often I'm working on specific things. Obviously, I work on Middle Earth the most because it is my focus piece for Semi-Sane Stitchers. I should be working on Magic Study more, but I'm really tired of the purple. So I barely worked on Magic Study. But anyway, so I tally up how many days I've worked on specific projects, and then I can, at the end of the year, I'll be able to know how often I was working on certain things. So anyway, 6 days for Middle Earth. I only did Dark Queen of the Seas for 1 day because I finished the whole 7th part on that first day. Magic Study twice, so 2 days. Garden Prelude I worked on 1 day. Avatar Alphabet I worked on for 3 days. Epic Storybook Princess 3 days, and Giant Harry Potter 1 day. So that is that. And then I have my little totals here. I put in 1,049 stitches for Dark Queen. As I said, or I don't even know if I said this, my kids are all downstairs, so I'm trying to get in a quick video, and of course I start filming and all right. So Magic Study, 912 stitches. Considering I did 7,000 stitches on it in January, that's really sad. Okay, Garden Prelude, I did 808 stitches. Middle Earth, I did 5,560 stitches. I'm staying pretty even on how many I do a month on that one. Avatar Alphabet was 1,889 stitches. Epic Princesses was 1,652, and Giant Harry Potter was 503, for a grand total of 12,373 stitches for the month of March, which is not a bad number compared to my January and February numbers, which I believe were both over 20,000. That is bad, but I'm actually fine with this number considering how little I stitched this month. So those are my March stats. I kind of like doing the stats at the end of the month. It's kind of fun. So if anybody else, I don't know, I just like it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive into the projects I've worked on this week. So it would have been the last, not this week just started. It would have been the week after the 21st, last week, and then I did work on a little bit today that I will show you. First off, I will show you my avatar alphabet. The last time you saw it, I had just finished stitching Appa, Flying Bison Appa, which I charted myself and so that I could make it work. For those who are new, this is a project I'm doing for Semi-Sane Stitches Alpha My Bet. It's an alphabet pattern, and each month you are supposed to stitch on a pattern with the alphabet. I think the idea is that, you know, for January it was A and B, February C and D, then E and F, and then G, H, etc., etc. So I chose Avatar Alphabet, but I didn't like all of the characters that they chose to put in the pattern, and I felt like some of the characters that were main to the story, like Appa, were left completely off the pattern, which is fine. Obviously, not everybody can do it. And so I had to chart my own. And so Appa was one of them, which is him right here. But then we have the letter G. So this is Monk Gyatso. I think it's Gyatso. My daughter said, I always remember it because when Aang says it on the TV show, it sounds like he's saying Monkey Atso. So Monk Gyatso. So he is letter G. He is one that was in the pattern. In fact, the next several are ones that are in the pattern. It's not until I get to the letter L that it's another one that I charted, which is the lemur, Momo. But Appa, the flying bison, that's why he's under F, because I already have an A for Avatar. So I did this one this morning. This was my project today while my kids were in school doing their schoolwork. So that one's done. I also put a lot of work on Middle Earth. I don't even remember what it looked like the last time you saw, so I have to go watch the last video so you can see, so I can put in the difference so you can see. But here we are with Map of Middle Earth. I am pretty sure that at least 3,000 stitches are new from the last time you saw it. If not 3,000, I know at least 2,000 because I did 2,000 last week. So this is right along here is a page finish. And so right here is a page, here is a page, and then here is a page. And then if you add what's underneath here, I've roughly done 4 pages, and I think there's 29 in this pattern. Not 29 full pages, but I think if we went full pages, it's more like 20 full pages. So I am making a dent in my Map of Middle Earth. I also pulled out a pattern you guys have not seen in a very long time because it fit a prompt for Semi-Sane Stitching Go Fish, which is basically each day they spin a letter wheel and a letter will come up and they'll say, oh, do the letter T. And if you have a whip that starts with the letter T, you can use the if you want, or if it's like the trio of or something like that, you can take T off, and the can count or cannot count depending on what you want. But it only works for the first letter of the pattern name, not the designer, not any of the letters in it. So it so happens that the first letter I think was T, so I chose 13 colonies. And you'll notice quite a bit of stitching on 13 colonies that was not there before. And it looks lovely, and I really enjoyed stitching on this. And once I got, because this whole thing right here is all full coverage, and then everything else on the entire pattern is just simple like this. And so that stuff goes by quick. It's this full coverage part that I've been stuck on because, and this is a 40 count as well, so it's pretty tiny. But I really enjoyed stitching on this. But anyway, with the Go Fish, if you don't have a pattern that starts with the letter, you just say Go Fish, and then you can do double the stitches on anything you want. So I actually used this for quite a few because they did like Q and U and some other ones that I don't have whips that start with that. So this got a lot of love this week, and it was a good time. I don't see myself putting that away quite so much. I don't know. I'll work on it or I won't. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on if the mood strikes. The last thing I want to share with you, I am more than excited about because I have a finish. I have a finish. And here we go. It's done. All of the back stitching, everything. It's a little wrinkled because I haven't washed it yet. And then I told my husband if he wants to get me a good birthday present, he can take me to have this framed up nice this month. But the last time you saw this, I had just this last, was it that corner or this? It was one of these two corners left to do, plus the rest of the border. And then I had to go through, and each of these little butterflies, I had to go and do the little back stitch for each of the butterflies. And then this vase, no, not this one. Where is it? Oh, it's this vase right here. I did the back stitching while I was stitching it, but then there were some others where there's a little extra stitching in the flowers. Some extra stitching up here that I had to do some back stitching. Mostly it was just the butterflies. And then I changed, because I bought this last year and it was released last year, so I changed the 2020 to 2021, of course. And then I changed the letters, obviously, to my initials, AS. And she's done. And this is my first Long Dog sampler. So if you don't know, this is Pavan for These Times by Long Dog Sampler. I was expecting it to be a lot bigger. Obviously, Pandemic, I think, is twice as big as this. It's much, much larger. This one is quite a bit smaller, and I love it. And it is gorgeous, and it says, "Turn your face to the sun, and the shadows fall behind you," which is an absolutely beautiful quote. And so one more time, next time you see this, it will be framed. I don't know how I'm having it framed. Normally I just go with like simple black frame on things, but I have not framed a lot of needlework. I framed just a little bit. This one needs to be framed, in my opinion. I just need to take it in somewhere and have them kind of help me decide what would look best with it. Do I want matte board with it? Do I not? I don't know. So we'll see. I'm pulling things out of my pocket. I've also done a little bit of work on a couple other patterns. Excuse me, a couple other patterns today, but I'm going to wait and show those to you next week. I have not started anything new. Now that I have a finish, I might. I really want to start Abominable Bunch and Bigfoot Bunch, but I really want to make sure that the fabric I choose works well for it. I have a huge yard of wonderful fabric, but I need to cut it up and dye it if I want to use that, and I'm not sure I want to cut it up. In fact, I'm actually tempted to use that for Pandemic instead. I've already got Pandemic started on an antique white Ada, but the antique white is kind of a butter color, and I feel like that would be better used on maybe a full coverage, because I don't really like the butter yellowy color of it, where with the white one I could really go crazy with the colors. And since I'm restarting Pandemic anyway, I've only got what, 100 stitches of Pandemic in, 200 maybe, so I'm going to restart it with a different color scheme because I just didn't like how I had been doing it. So anyway, I still haven't figured that out, so I haven't started those, and I haven't started Mr. Finnegan or the Valentine's one, Know Me Homie. And they released an Easter one that's super cute, Autumn Lane Stitchery, if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then also Dark Queen put out part 8. We get to stitch on the Trident this time. There's no fun choices for this one. It's pretty much just, here's the pattern, stitch what we've, I mean, obviously I can change what I want, but the last couple times you've had some options. So that'll be nice and easy. I'll probably get that done this week as well. Now I'm just trying to wait. So that is what I've accomplished for the last 3 weeks. So that's all the stitching. As far as why so little for 3 weeks and why my numbers were so low, March was just March. I was kind of struggling the first 2 weeks of March. I don't know if it was allergies or if I had come down with a cold. I'm pretty sure it was a cold because I have absolutely nothing now. And from my experience with family members who've had severe allergies, they don't just go away a week after they start. They usually kind of run for a while and you have to be taking medication. So I'm pretty sure I just came down with a cold. So I just wasn't feeling very well for the first couple of weeks and just kind of muddled through. We were at the end of the term for the kids, and the kids were starting to go back to school. Two of them were going back to school, and then we were having some troubles with the one that I constantly sit next to and monitor all day long, and we finally managed to get him into a hybrid situation. But because of the specialty program that he's in, the school doesn't provide transportation, so I have to take him to and from. Not a big deal, the school's not far away, but it does take a chunk of my time. So I was adjusting to that, not feeling very well, and then kind of lost the stitchy bug. Not really, but it's just the idea of just pulling anything out just seemed exhausting. So pretty much, well, and then one of my kids turned 18, so we had a birthday party, and we tried to do something big and grand for him, considering he doesn't have any friends here because he hasn't been at school, so he doesn't know anybody, and it's his 18th birthday, and we were trying, so we did big decorations, and where do you want to eat? Let's go get stuff and bring it home. But yeah, that was, so 18th birthday, and then my other child turned 17 just a few days ago, and her big thing was she wanted to go see an aquarium, so we drove to Baltimore to the National Aquarium. Which is fantastic. We lived in Japan, in Okinawa, Japan, for 4 years, and they have it's called the Okinawa Churami Aquarium. It is the second largest aquarium in the world. It has a massive tank that holds, when we were there, it had 2 whale sharks in it, and whale sharks. I've got, yeah. So they rehabilitate whale sharks, and then they help release them into the ocean. So if they get sharks that have been caught in nets and stuff, they usually come to that aquarium so that they can help them get better. And then they will slowly release them out. And then it's actually funny because the last year we were there, I had just had a baby, and my husband had the opportunity to go out and dive with some of the rehabilitated whale sharks. They keep them in the ocean in a certain kind of netted area as they reacclimate to ocean before they release them fully. And so they allow people to come and dive in the same waters that they're in. So my husband got to go dive with the whale sharks, and I'm so bummed I didn't get to because I just had a baby, I'm nursing, and issues with that. But anyway, so any aquarium that we go to kind of pales in comparison to that aquarium, but this one was really nice, especially the big blue room that was the shark room. It's like 5 stories, and you have these moving walkways that take you up to the different stories, and it was really nice. And we had never been to Baltimore, so that was our first time driving out there, and it was not a bad drive, thank heavens. So that was what she wanted to do for her birthday, and so we did that, and special dinners, and so we were planning for that. Plus it was spring break last week, and I was trying, our last spring break kind of sucked because it was the beginning. It was in March of last year, so it was right there at the beginning when the shutdowns were happening, and you couldn't go anywhere, and you couldn't go to the store, and nothing. And that was her birthday and his birthday, and it was awful, and I felt so bad for them. They couldn't celebrate at all. with their friends. And so this year we tried to make their birthdays a little bit nicer. And so we did, tried to do more, and we tried to make spring break really nice. So we did that. There's a little area near us called Aquarium, historic village. So we went and kind of walked up and down there and found a magnificent little shop that sells nothing but puzzles. A huge room just filled. And in fact, it was fun because for any of you Heaven and Earth design stitchers, there were a whole bunch of puzzles by Ann Stokes. And I'm walking through going, I know that pattern. I've seen it on Heaven and Earth Designs. And I was tempted to buy one of those puzzles because I know I'm not going to buy the pattern, but I like it. So that was fun. So my kids picked out some puzzles. We bought some fudge. Just, you know, found a dive shop, which was fantastic. And it turns out my daughter, my 17-year-old, she's very interested in marine biology. So now she wants to learn to dive because that's something that is useful in that career field. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, that's kind of just what happened the last 3 weeks. I didn't stitch a wink, not a wink. I don't know the words that I'm saying, so for those of you who are new, this is me. I didn't stitch hardly at all. I think I pulled the stitching out long enough to do the basic needs for homework last week, and that was it. And even that was hard to do. And while I stitch, I have been trying to find something to watch. YouTube has been kind of boring for me lately, so I haven't been watching YouTube as much as I normally do. But I'm rewatching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I remember now why I liked it so much. It's really fun. And now my daughter's watching it with me, so she's like, those clothes. It's like, yeah, they kind of look like the clothes you guys are starting to wear now. And she goes, well, some of them, yeah. Oh, so fun. So anyway, yeah, I got over whatever cold it was that I had because I am perfectly fine now, and it's been really warm. We got to mow our lawn for the first time today. The aquarium was awesome. We ordered out a bunch last week, and my COVID weight is not thanking me. I think I mentioned that I got the fancy exercise bike back in January, but it doesn't work because it's a magnetic resistance bike and something is wrong with it and the resistance doesn't change. So they sent us a new motor. We replaced the motor. It still doesn't work. And so they're sending us another new motor and another part. And then they gave me a number for a technician to come and fix it. The technician isn't calling me back. So I've had this very expensive fancy bike in my house being used pretty much as a paperweight because I can't use it. And it's driving me nuts because I really want to fix the, you know, anyway, so that's been life. So anyway, for all of you who stuck around and watched to the end, thank you so much. Just a little life update in there. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. So yeah, that's all I have to share. And hopefully by next week, I will have some more progress on some other things. Maybe pull out a few whips that you guys haven't seen in a while. So yeah, that's it, and thanks for watching, and I will see everybody again later. Bye.